I'm gonna call Inve. We're gonna do we're gonna have a little discussion. We're gonna ask Inve some questions about Armored Core. We're gonna have some discussion about Armored Core PvP. And we're just gonna have a good little chat while we watch some Armored Core footage in the background, okay? Before we get right into, I want to jump right into the sauce. But before we do that, tell us a little bit about yourself. I'm gonna go interviewer mode. I hope that's cool.
Yeah, sure.
Tell us a bit about yourself and your history with Armored Core, if you don't mind.
I have less of a history than Armored Core than a lot of other people. Basically, I remember a couple years ago, I was like, I remember playing this game as a kid. I'm gonna go see if this shit works on PC. And then I was like, yeah, it kind of works. And me and a couple of other people on the Armored Core Discord figured out how to make multiplayer work in 4Answer on PC.
Oh, sick. That was you?
Awesome. Yeah, that was me. I was the first person to do that, actually, I believe, as far as I'm aware. And yeah, it was just really cool that worked and that we've got this many people like playing it right now. I'm not huge on the single player of the games.
Okay, interesting. You're more into the multiplayer. Well, that's fine for as far as my audience is concerned, for sure.
Yeah, I am a multiplayer gremlin, and I think I'm okay at 4Answer. Being really good at 4Answer is really hard.
Okay.
So I'd like to get there, but I think it's more of like a 10 years of consistent play thing than than anything else, and I'm not quite at that level of experience yet.
I've noticed that a lot with Souls as well. Souls tends to be, what do you call it? Tends to be a little, like the veteran players. I'm like, okay, like you have a lot of experience and skill that I feel like I'm just gonna have to get over a long period of time here.
Yeah, so 4Answer is really funny about that because there's a specific muscle memory action where every boost you do has to be frame perfect to a certain extent.
Really?
If you want to be good at this game. So, yeah, the difference between a good player and a not so good player is pretty apparent because the good player will be about 5 times faster.
Wow. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. 4Answer is an insane game. I don't think they're going to have that level of insanity in 6. But yeah, that's me. I'm a multiplayer gremlin. I made
okay, great.
PC 4Answer work, and I do a lot of tech support.
For the game, you mean?
Yeah, I do a lot of tech support for the game. It's an emulator, you know, so people have a lot of problems.
Yeah, I believe that. So, yeah, okay, so that's a little bit of your background. So just right off the top, what are your feelings just today? You know, we're like less than 2 weeks away from, we're 12 days away from Armored Core 6, right? So, what are your current feelings, anticipations? Like, how are you feeling about the game? How are you feeling about the multiplayer? Just, like, give us a general vibe check. How are you feeling?
Want it so bad.
Yeah, I believe that. Yep.
As far as the multiplayer goes, I don't know. I'm pretty open-minded on this. I think it's going to be not at all like 4Answer, and my skills are going to be an active detriment to me for my muscle memory.
Okay.
It's going to be my best guess. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how it plays. Just because, I mean, I've talked to a lot of people about the game, but I haven't gotten to actually touch it.
Right, exactly, yeah.
On such like a spiritual level.
Yeah, seriously. I'm not gonna lie, there are certain creators I saw who got flown out, and I was like, excuse me? Like, there are so many people I think who would have been more passionate about it, but whatever, you know. They're making their decisions.
You know, my biggest pain point with the Armored Core community is that the best PvP players are the worst at search engine optimization. And they...
I was gonna say
that. Yeah.
Nobody knows who's in the PvP community at all for Armored Core. I mean, it doesn't help that the last game's like 10 plus years old.
Yeah, it definitely does not. And also, people didn't like the last one that came out very much.
Which is 5, right? 5 is the last title?
Verdict Day.
Verdict Day, yes, right, that's what it is.
Yeah, 5.5.
And 5 people were upset with because it was slow. And it was a lot of like cover peeking gameplay, right?
So funny thing, it's not actually slow. It's only slow if you're bad.
Right. Okay.
And that might make people angry, but it's very, very true. 5 and Verdict Day require you to wall kick off of stuff and like toggle your overboost and do like StarCraft level of button pushing.
Ooh.
So
Oh no.
that level of APM kind of, I mean, the game doesn't like make you do it during the campaign ever. So for the campaign, yeah, you can be slow and it'll be fine. But as soon as you get into multiplayer, if you're not at that level, you just get kind of dunked, which I think leads to a lot of people's complaints. But the game is definitely not slow.
Yeah, for sure.
Once
you get into
PvP.
PvP.
Get me to do ERP. Yeah, I'm so bad at Elden Ring.
Yeah, like so a big question that I have, and we can circle around back to this later too, but like a big question that I think a lot of people are asking is we have like a huge influx of people in the broader Souls community, and I don't know so I'm curious to hear how you feel. Do you feel that there's any sense of connection between Armored Core and the Souls fandom? Because there's a lot, because people have made a lot of this, right? And we're not going to talk about is it a Souls-like. That's a dumb question. And I think you even saw you even watched my video that I put out about it.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, but I'm more curious, like, do the people who are still into Armored Core feel that they are like Fromsoft fans? Do they feel that they're just Armored Core fans? Like, what's the overlap look like in terms of the Armored Core community with the broader kind of Fromsoft fan base? Just because for additional context, what's weird about this game is that this is I think if I'm not wrong, this is the first real non-Souls-ish FromSoft title since like Dark Souls 1. Like, I mean, you could like, you know,
you're forgetting
Sekiro.
about Daracene, dude.
Sorry, what? I don't even know what game that is.
It's a extremely weird point-and-click VR title for the PlayStation VR.
Okay, FromSoft made that.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, pretty much.
Yeah. So again, circle around back again. How does the current Armored Core community see itself in relation to the broader Souls fans? And maybe you can throw in your own take there too.
Yeah, a lot of Armored Core fans are also Souls fans. A lot of the time, they surprisingly like Dark Souls 2 the most, which is weird in my eyes.
No, that makes a lot of sense to me.
You know, I don't know, man. Dark Souls 2 is a weird game.
It is a weird game, yeah, but it has really good PvP, which is the rumor about Armored Core as well.
Yeah, however, there are definitely a lot of people in the Armored Core community who view people who are coming back just from Souls kind of bandwagoners. I personally think that it's a little cringe. You should just welcome people back in. From my perspective, more players is better because I like to play multiplayer.
Yes, yeah. I'm right there with you, man.
Yeah, but yeah, there's definitely the you're enjoying it wrong crowd that that exists. However, I think they're more of a minority, and most people played and enjoyed the Souls games, and they're like, yeah, Armored Core could probably use some elements of that in their boss fights. The boss fights in Armored Core kind of suck.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
anyone who really loved. Actually, Verdict Day's boss fights are cool, but the rest of them kind of suck.
Yeah, so that, I mean, like that's eventually we're gonna talk about some of the quote-unquote Souls-like elements, because like one of the questions, just so you can kind of have this percolating in the back of your mind, one of the questions I do want to talk about later is just what elements have you, I mean, what the hell, let's just talk about it now. I don't know why I'm bringing it up like that. What elements do you think of Armored Core, either in terms of what you've experienced already, or further of what you've seen of Armored Core 6, like what elements do you think are going to appeal to people who are just coming, like let's say this specifically for Elden Ring people. The majority of the people who watch me are like, I mean, and frankly, if we're being honest, the majority of the FromSoft fan base, period, is Elden Ring only. Like that's one
I
of the
guess
weird.
that is true.
That's one of the weird things I've been hitting a lot of Souls vets with is like there's a lot of people who've been here since Dark Souls 1, and then there's more people than that who've just come in with Elden Ring. Like that's the majority of the fan base now for FromSoft. So in your mind, what elements of the game do you think are going to be fun, interesting, and like relatable to an Elden Ring player? And then what elements do you think? Again, this is focusing mainly on AC6 here. What elements do you think are going to be that point of conflict, or something that's going to like give people trouble, or something that's very different in the game?
So I think one of the biggest changes that the team at the AC6 guys made to kind of help the Elden Ring crowd was definitely the Estus Flask. I mean, I don't remember what it's called in game, but it's
repair module or something like that.
Yeah, it's an Estus Flask. Anyway,
yeah, Estus. Yeah. Let's just call. I still honestly call the red potions in Elden Ring. I call them Estus like 99% of the time.
I forgot they changed the name.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that was put there because if they gave you all of your AP at once, people would be like, oh, it's a big number. I got a lot of that. I can get shot every once in a while. It doesn't matter. And people wouldn't make it through missions. So I'm thinking that's probably one of the ways that they're softening the difference. Because, in Elden Ring, you'll find a bonfire and you'll get all your assets back and whatever. And in this game, it's like you're on a mission, so you want to get to the end of it quickly in prior games, and I'm assuming you'll probably want to get to the end of it quickly in this too. So
yeah,
ideally you take like no damage and then kill the one thing you're there to murder and then bail in the prior games,
right?
Which is going to be a big that's a big issue that a lot of people have in the older games, is they go in and they kill everything on the map and they spend all of their money on ammo and take like 80 million damage. Right. The mission objective is just one like red dot in the center of the map, and you blow it up, and then the mission's over.
Right.
I'm hoping that AC6 strays away from that a little bit and makes the missions a little bit more interesting. But I'm sure there's going to be some missions that are like that are going to throw people off just for the classic AC feel.
Yeah.
And another big one that I think is gonna throw people's brains is vertical movement, because you don't fly.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Yeah. It's way more vertical because like in comparison to the previous titles, there's way more verticality in Elden Ring than there has been in other titles, right? But at the same time,
right,
it's completely different, right? Like it's 3-dimensional movement versus, basically 2-dimensional plus 2.5 dimensions, right? Like,
yeah, like I mean, a jump is definitely going to be different from like For Answer, where both players are off the ground for the entire time.
Do you think that's gonna...
Another funny one is probably gonna be radar awareness, which is big in the old games.
Okay, tell me about that. What is that?
So a lot of the time in the old games, your opponent won't be on your screen, but they'll still exist on your radar. So you'll have to rely entirely on your radar to face the enemy. Whereas in something like Elden Ring, you won't be having to search for your enemy on the screen because they walk like a human, Right. They're not going to teleport off your screen like a freaking Gundam.
Yeah.
And that's also going to be something to adjust to. But I think a lot of the FPS crowd will probably be able to handle that. Like if you played Destiny or Halo or something like that, it's a similar skill transfer with the up-down angle added to, though.
Right. Yeah, that's actually a really good point, because I think because I do think that like part of what gives Elden Ring a bit of its accessibility is its camera, and maybe this is a convenient point to toggle into talking about the way that lock-on works in the game. It was somewhat of a controversy as far as I can tell that the question of soft lock-on, hard lock-on are like, and people seem really confident that it's a full hard lock on Armored Core 6. Is that true?
I don't know. I mean, I have heard mixed things. I've heard from some people that the lock can't be broken. I've heard from some people that it's like For Answer and the lock disengages when you touch the right stick. But unfortunately, without being able to just sit down and like, A/B test everything, it's not going to be really possible for me to say. Right. I am of the opinion that it's probably not as extreme as a lot of people are assuming.
Right, yeah.
But that isn't necessarily grounded in fact. I just think that it would be crazy if it was actually that.
Right.
I also thought it would be crazy for purging weapons to be an unlock, though, and that is a thing. So maybe,
yeah,
maybe
I'm
it's
really
just crazy.
I'm really curious about those things in particular. What are those things called in the game again? They're like EV upgrades or something. I don't remember what the name of them are.
OS tuning chips.
OS tuning chips. So
Yeah.
I really wonder if those are intended as a way of like basically mitigating the sheer amount of mechanics in the game and allowing people to have, you know, elect to unlock them or not, right? Like one in particular that I wanted to get your opinion on is there's the manual aim like OS upgrade, or sorry, what was it called again? OS tuning?
OS tuning, yeah.
Where it essentially allows you to manually aim ahead of people and like basically predict where your opponent's movement. Right?
Yeah, I think that it's going to be more of like you want to unlock everything in this category immediately than like their optional features, in my opinion.
Right.
But
I'm sure for PvP, yes, but like I'm talking for the casual as well.
I don't know. Even in like a casual environment, if the enemy is moving fast enough to like outpace your lockbox, then I mean, previous Armored Core games have been pretty easy, so that hasn't happened. But assuming that this one's going to be actually hard and the enemy AI works, and they'll be able to dodge. There are situations in which a fast AC can outpace your tracking with your lockbox. Right. And you'll be locked on and firing, but your bullets don't hit them because the enemy AC is just slightly further away than your firing out can reach. And like, I think you probably want the ability to adjust in that situation, and also being able to manual aim splash damage weapons is pretty invaluable
huge.
A lot of situations.
Yeah, so because I mean, again, from my perspective, like I'm coming into this basically completely blind. Like we're gonna set up a time to set up Armored Core 4 Answer, and I'll be doing some Armored Core 4 Answer content before the game comes out as well. But other than that, I'm going in like with that's gonna be my full, you know, experience of Armored Core before coming into the title. And just from me as an outsider looking in. The lock-on definitely looks like it might be a conflict spot for people. Like, because people in Elden Ring especially are used to, like, their ranged attacks just kind of auto-seeking to target.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's one thing that I think might get the more casual part of the audience feeling frustrated in different ways. But I think
this was reserved for those people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man, that's sweet. Sorry, I'm watching the footage and I'm just so excited.
Yeah, I really, really want it. It's what, 11 days now?
Yeah. No, yeah, 11, 12 days.
12?
Yeah. Something like that.
Over.
Yeah, hand it over, exactly. It's so weird too because I feel like
code and they said nothing.
Yeah, they said no to me too. Don't take it too bad.
They didn't even say no. They just said.
They said nothing.
Yeah, blank space.
Yeah. God, this looks so good. Yeah, it looks great. Yo, what's up, Kaylee? By the way, Gamma, Declan. Oh, Declan, you've been here already. Also, Ninja, welcome in. I loved AC. Sorry, I didn't read your comment. I love AC and AC2, even if that was a long enough ago that I don't remember them terribly well. Yeah. The title and stream category got me. Got me thinking you had an early copy for a sec. Oh man, that would be incredible. Oh my god, even just the demo. Like, please, just give me one level demo. Like, to be honest, I'm a little bit frustrated that From didn't give us a demo, because I think a demo would go a long way in persuading, you know, hesitant, you know, Elden Ring gamers, whether they should or shouldn't be grabbing the game.
I'm frustrated with the amount of marketing they've done in general. I have like friends I've been talking to who are like, "Oh yeah, when's that game coming out again? Like next year?" And I'm like, "No, dude, like next week." And they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
They haven't talked about it at all.
My theory on that is that FromSoft, a lot of what made Elden Ring explode was they did post-launch advertising and relied a lot on viral marketing through like TikTok and other kind of short-based content. not that they were doing that themselves. They kind of that's just where a lot of the growth and the engagement came from. And what little stuff I've seen being posted on TikTok has been doing really, really well, and it's been getting a lot of engagement. So I'm curious if that's like an intentional strategy or not. I'm really not sure.
Yeah, I do not know. I really hope that they do some kind of marketing after the game comes out, because Armored Core games kind of have a history of having zero marketing and then dying.
Yeah, I mean,
I would hate to see history repeat itself.
Yeah, that would be really unfortunate. I really, yeah, I hope so too. But like that's one of the frustrating parts too, being on this side, is that it's so hard to know just what the actual impact is going to be until we see game quality. Like, if people lose their minds and it's like the greatest things in sliced bread, you know what I mean? It's Elden Ring 2, and it has just as viral of a like, I just mean in terms of engagement, right? Like, it has just that high, that super high level of just like viral engagement. Because that game was, Elden Ring was supposed to lose last year. Like, there was God of War Ragnarok, there was so many titles to kill the level of engagement with the game, and it ended up doing so well anyway.
I was not surprised when Elden Ring won, but I basically didn't shower for a week when that game came out, so I don't think my opinion is necessarily unbiased in this case.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, I think AC6 is probably not going to win Game of the Year this year because the Zelda game released this year.
Yep.
And yeah, Zelda's going to win Game of the Year, man. It's a Zelda game.
We'll see. Well, I think there's some pretty stiff competition. Baldur's Gate 3, man.
It's fucking awesome.
It's a great game. I'm having a blast. I'm playing it so much off stream.
I am too. I was thinking about making videos on it, but I was just like, nah, I'm just gonna play it.
That's why I love having I have a YouTube channel and a shorts, like, TikTok channel, and I just post whatever I want on the TikTok. I don't care. Like, I'm more calculated on YouTube. Yeah, so talking a little, man, like, one of the biggest frustrations too is we know like almost nothing about PvP when it comes to Armored Core 6. That's one of the weirder spots, is like I'm expecting like any day now for us to get real PvP information, but we may not get anything until release. Which sounds crazy.
I don't think we're gonna get any PvP information at all. They already said that it wasn't a focus, so I'm just glad that it's included. That was like one of the first things they said. They're like, this isn't a multiplayer focused game, and I was like, wow. Cool, just shoot me in the thigh, why don't you?
Yeah, that's tough. But honestly, they said that about Elden Ring as well. So,
hey, it's included, so I'm happy.
Yeah.
As long as I get 1v1s and I can scream 1v1 me at people in my YouTube comment sections, I'm happy.
Nice. Yeah, 1v1s and 3v3s. And according to Ouroboros, I don't know if he was supposed to say this or not. Apparently, there's a good chance that there's also going to be ranked modes for both 1v1 and 3v3s. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there have been in the past.
Yeah. So that's pretty exciting for me. I like the idea of like differentiating between casual and competitive. PvP is fun. It's one of the like, it would be quite a nice distinction, to be totally honest, because that's one of the biggest frustrations for people with Souls, is like, there's no distinction between like the more people who are trying to take it seriously and the people who are just trying to goof.
Right.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see.
That
what happens
distinction's kind of dead now in the Armored Core community, but there's like 300 of us, so I mean, we know who the best players are already.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I'm really curious. That's why I thought, like, you had that YouTube video that was like top 500 Armored Core 4 answer PvP. Like,
there's about 500 4 answer PvE players.
Still more players than Absolver, says Peril. Got him.
That's rough.
Probably more
players in DNF Duel.
And probably for answer as well. Or sorry, not for answer. For honor. That's the one.
Is For Honor still alive?
I don't know, man. I think there's like 2 streamers keeping it alive.
Oh, no, For Honor has like 4,000 players right now. That's crazy.
Okay, look at that. Yeah, because so all of those things lead me to really well, actually no, I'll ask you a preface question first. Like the rumor, and like this is what I've heard from people basically in my chat who are telling me about the Armored Core thing, is that generally speaking the Armored Core PvP has been considered quite well balanced. So like what's your take on specifically let's say Armored Core 4 Answer PvP and the balance of the game? I hear your laughs.
Are you familiar with fighting games?
Yes, yeah. I would say fairly familiar.
The term I'm not is Kusoge.
Okay, not that familiar. You're gonna have to tell me that one.
That term means shit game. Literally translated.
Okay.
I like the balance of 4 Answer. I do not think it is necessarily balanced. There are parts that are clearly better than other parts in a lot of categories, and in a lot of cases, there's stuff that's like just clearly better. Like, I don't know. I think, in my opinion, if it were to be like truly balanced, most of the parts in the game would be viable. But
right, but they're intentionally
not really
making
the case.
Versions of parts that are just strictly better, right? Like you get upgrades and stuff.
I mean, sort of. Like some of the stuff that's not like chain guns and Gatling guns, just as a weapon category, just aren't viable.
Right. Is that necessarily super bad for there to be? So I guess what I mean when I say balance is like not that like every single thing has equal competitive viability. There's always going to be like A tier, S tier. You know what I mean? Like there's always going to be tiers even among something that has a pretty decent amount of balance. Right. I guess when I say game balance, I'm talking about like a healthy, robust S8, high tier setups. Do you know what I mean? Where it's not just like
there are definitely a lot of different high tier meta setups that you can run. It's kind of Taco Bell style though, where a lot of the same parts are just rearranged in different formats.
Okay.
So yes and no. There are a lot of combinations that you can get, but the highest effectivity stuff definitely shines really, really clearly over the lowest effectivity stuff. However, within that, you still have a lot of build variety.
Okay, so because like I think one of the biggest complaints, particularly about Elden Ring PvP, is that if you were to look at things without community ban lists and stuff like that, the current state of the dueling meta is just like, if there wasn't community enforced ban lists, it would just be like one setup. Maybe two, maybe three.
In 4 Answer, there is no community enforced ban list, actually.
Right.
There are one set of parts people politely ask you to not use, which is blades, and that's because they break the netcode. But some people still use them anyway.
Netcode.
Yes, they make you teleport all over the place. Everything in 4 Answer is defender-sided, which means if you get hit on your screen, you take damage. And if you dodge the bullet, you don't take damage, even if it lands on your opponent's screen. So your opponent can land like a grenade launcher shot on your face on their screen, have it explode and do damage and take off your health bar. But then a second later, your health will tick back up if you dodged it on your screen. And you will just have not taken the damage.
Fromsoft netcode, no.
Yeah, now blades work the other way. So they're attacker-sided. So no matter what, if the attacker hits you, then the blade is teleported to that position. And the blade is attached to your AC. So you teleport with the blade.
Whoa.
Basically, you just fucking... If you hit someone on your screen, you warp to whatever position you were in on your screen on their screen at the time of contact.
Right.
And then they take damage.
That's
so
weird.
It's like a Dragon Ball Z teleport fight.
Yeah,
it's nuts. It's worse than Dark Souls 1 netcode.
Oh, that's bad. I mean, it came out before Dark Souls 1, didn't it?
It did.
So that kind of makes sense. So that's what's so interesting, I think, and what's so frustrating being on this side of the game launch is like, I want to be optimistic, and I am optimistic about the way that the game's balancing is going to be handled, and the way that the netcode is going to be and stuff. I don't have any delusions that it's going to be perfect. Street Fighter 6 rollback netcode not happening.
Mhm.
But I am really curious to see what 10 plus years has done to an Armored Core game. Do you know much about what the engine of the game is, or like anything about the sort of more technical stuff?
Not really, unfortunately. I am not that into the modding scene or anything, so I don't really know how the inner workings of the engine work.
Right. Because I think it would be really
unfortunately.
curious. So do you know if the Armored Core games are built on the same infrastructure as any of the Dark Souls games or not?
Yes, I know that they are built on the same engine, and some of the same modding tools that work for Dark Souls have been modified to work for Armored Core. Some of the
Okay,
guys over on
interesting.
the Armored Core Discord have modded the game using old Souls tools that were changed slightly, I believe. But I could be wrong on that because I am not a modder myself. I guess I
Okay,
made one
interesting.
mod, but
Well, then I'm gonna have to
Not
temper my
really.
expectations about about how good the netcode's gonna be. If it's gonna be based on the same system as Elden Ring, then
Yeah.
we're gonna have a lot of those same challenges of like weird defender aggressor side netcode stuff.
I would not expect it to be good netcode.
Yeah.
But we can dream. And
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
hope
Let's
that
let's stream.
they will
Let's
fix
stream
the
it
shit
up.
this time. Yeah. Hopefully this is the game. I mean, dude, we got 120 FPS on PC on this one. That's
Yeah,
a first.
that is very
So
exciting. Yeah.
maybe we'll also get a first in functional netcode.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, you know, I'm gonna have realistic expectations there. I think so. So from
Yeah.
my perspective, I'm not. I like obviously I think it would be a dream if the PvP community would be super healthy, robust, balanced, good netcode, and like a good like that we could even have a cool like competitive scene. That would be I think that'd be fantastic. My more
I
realistic
don't
hope.
think it's gonna start balanced.
No, I don't think so either. But I think my more realistic hope and what I'm hoping to get out of the PvP experience is a lot of creativity. So the ability to like bring a lot of the more interesting, strange setups and like still make things work. At least personally, that's kind of what I'm hoping to see.
Yeah, you can do a lot more of that in Verdict Day than in For Answer. In For Answer, a lot of the funky setups don't work because of the netcode. So I'm hoping that 6 has good enough netcode where if I hit somebody with my funky weird setup, the bullet actually lands.
Right, yeah. Because like a good example is like in
that's a
Elden
big
Ring,
thing.
there's certain weapon classes that are just like a joke, like flails, for
Yeah.
example, are a joke. Just because they
Yeah, the
like-
same can be said of For Answer.
Okay. Also, welcome in FT Reckon. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Amateur Genius, welcome in as well. Hope you're doing good. Dueling is shit, Coop, in almost every FromSoft game, so it's obvious that the dueling meta is shit. Well, that hasn't always been true, right? So a lot of people are hoping to see more, right? And
Yeah,
we're hey, Valentine, welcome in.
in For Answer, dueling is the best way to play the game by like a mile, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah.
1v1s are definitely the best way to play that game. So that's the one game where they got that right.
Yeah. So I'm that's what I mean is like I'm really optimistic and excited about what the potential is for that multiplayer experience. Especially because I think that there's like Armored Core to me feels like it's basically getting I mean, I don't mean to say this to invalidate those of you who are in the community right now. It really feels like this is kind of almost a hard reset. Cause like no one like very few people even know what this game is.
Oh yeah,
Right?
no,
Like they don't really know the story. Like my hope is that they can also do a really great job narratively and do that really tasty FromSoft, lore stuff they love doing. To get kind of the broader FromSoft community kind of into this universe.
Yeah, I hope so too. The older Armored Core games didn't really hold me in single player because they don't have a lot of the same cool story elements and a lot of the same cool like gameplay challenges as
Mm-hmm.
the Souls games do. Like, if you're decent at PvP, the single player of any of the Armored Core games will not be challenging for you.
Right, right. But that's cool.
Which kind of sucks.
I mean, like, but that's the reason I think I say that it's cool is that I think it's cool because I love to see that PvP and PvE skill actually have overlap. Like, that's one of the weird things about Elden Ring is that PvP skill and PvE skill are quite distinct. Like,
it works one way but not the other. If you learn to PvP, you'll be able to crush PvE, but if you crush PvE, none of that skill necessarily transfers to PvP.
yeah, that's fair. Because it's just very different, right? Yeah. But like being able to manually track an enemy is like gonna be valuable for me in PvP and PvE, right? Like,
yeah,
if I'm hitting 100% of my shots in PvE because of how I'm leading, like that's gonna actually give me a better advantage in PvP as well. You know, obviously I'm still gonna need to learn how players move, but do you know what I mean? Like, whereas like there's almost zero overlap between PvE skill and PvP skill in Elden Ring.
Yeah, in the PvE of Armored Core, a lot of the issue is the enemies just don't move. Like,
yeah, they're not doing intelligent movement. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, sometimes they just like literally don't move. I think in For Answer, which is the main game that I play, there are like maybe 2 or 3 fights where it's possible for somebody who has learned the mechanics of the game to have like serious trouble if they know what's happening around.
Right.
I don't know. I really hope this game is a little bit more challenging gameplay-wise.
Yeah, and it seems to look like it's going to be. Like just from, again, this is just from casual observation of the PvE footage that we've seen so far. Like, it actually looks like you have to use, you know, fundamentals of the game to actually succeed at basic gameplay, right? Like, I'm watching this footage right now, and it's like the people, like, especially against faster targets, AC size targets, you know, you have to manually aim, you have to lead your target, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Vadi looks like he is playing like pretty well actually in his video. I like that.
Yeah, I like watching his gameplay the most. He looks the most with it.
Everybody else who played, like of the big people, I think did not play as well as him. I think him playing like the entire series in one go probably definitely has tuned him into the Armored Core AM, dude.
Yeah,
he's killing it.
He was playing with the grip. Also, Patchy, welcome to the stream.
Oh, that meme's so funny.
It's so good. You guys play mech games for the story? I always played for giants, robots, and customization. Oh yeah, definitely. I'm more here for the customization for sure. But yeah, again, like I'm saying, the story just goes a long way in terms of making it friendly to a more, for that kind of friendly, casual onboarding experience, right? That's always the dream.
Yeah, and also,
the dream of the PvP player is cool lore, well-balanced PvP, so that when people actually jump into the arena, they're invested in the series because of the story, and then they stay because the PvP and or new game plus cycle, etc., are actually all like really compelling, right? Or at least that's the basic idea.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably gonna have to play this game 3 or 4 times anyway to get all the parts for PvP. So I hope the story and stuff is like cool.
Yeah.
Because if not, it's kind of a slog. In previous games, you had to S rank everything to get all the stuff, which sucked.
Interesting.
I hope they don't do that again, but there's a chance they do. So
yeah,
if that is the case, I hope that it's fun.
Yeah. I just have a feeling that the game's going to be more newcomer friendly than people expect. That's what my gut kind of tells me. Because that's just been the design style, the design philosophy, if you will, of FromSoft has consistently been going in that direction, and I can't imagine them being as newcomer friendly as they were with Elden Ring, and then moving like really far back on that particular measure for Armored Core, which like by all accounts, like especially in interviews, it feels like this is their real passion project. Like,
yeah, I make the joke a lot that Dark Souls was just a giant marketing ploy to make Armored Core again, and yeah, I think it's the truth.
I actually
Also,
believe
the
that.
Elden
I
Ring
really
DLC is
believe
fake.
that.
It's just marketing.
The DLC is fake.
Yeah, the DLC is fake.
No,
It's
here's
not
what's
coming out.
actually
They're
going to
just
happen.
getting your hopes up for Elden.
It's actually Elden Ring DLC is just Armored Core 6 DLC. And it's a armored. You take your Elden Ring character, and it becomes a mech in Armored Core 6.
No, it's the other way around. You take your AC into the shadows of the Erd Tree and stomp everything.
Hey, what's up, demigods?
That'd be sick. Yeah, fake DLC, man.
Yeah,
fake DLC.
absolutely. No, it's funny too, because when you listen to interviews, the way that FromSoft talked about Elden Ring and is like, they did not expect or believe that Elden Ring was going to be as successful as it was, especially commercially. In all their interviews, they talk like, we're really surprised, we're really excited that things are actually going this well. Like, that's all their early interviews are. Surprise is like the big like tone.
Yeah, Elden Ring blowing up. I was kind of surprised by that too. Some of my more casual friends who I wouldn't have expected to be into Souls actually finished Elden Ring, and I was like, wow, you guys finished the hardest Souls game. Holy shit! You gonna play the old ones now? And they're like, no. Okay, well.
Yeah.
We tried.
Cyborg Decker says, I have yet to play by Elden Ring, yet I pre-ordered Armored Core 6 Deluxe Edition on Steam. Haven't played an Armored Core game since the first on PlayStation 1 years and years ago. Nice. Yeah, and that's one of the things I'm really curious about this game is that I wonder what the appeal level is going to be to the casual audience of that, especially was brought in with Elden Ring. And yeah, I mean, that's just kind of the thing. We're just going to have to wait and see how it actually performs. Is it going to blow us away, or is it going to be, you know, just another attempt at the throne kind of thing?
I hope this is the piece of mecha media that finally makes giant robots popular, and then I can be less weird for my Gunpla collection.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I do think it has a shot. Like, if there was a chance for it to get introduced, I do think this is part of it for sure. Because I do think there's a lot of people who would never have looked at Armored Core that are buying it, pre-ordering it, etc., just because it's a FromSoft game.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm glad for that. FromSoft make great games. It's cool that they're like mainstream popular now. I kind of always thought they were for some reason, but I guess the Dark Souls thing was just like a meme. People didn't actually play it.
No, I just think it never reached the AAA sphere. You know what I'm saying? Like,
true.
It never broke to God of War level. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny because like people say like Diablo 4, man, is a great example. Like, by all accounts is like a pretty bad game. Like, again, this is just more me. That's not my opinion, by the way. That's just what I've heard from people. But like, yeah, sold a bajillion million gorillion copies and is super financially successful already. Like, never mind for the rest of the seasons of the game, right? So that's like that's the AAA level that Elden Ring and FromSoft are at now. And that's why I'm so curious to see what's going to happen with Armored Core, because they have pretty firmly moved into that AAA space with the success of Elden Ring. So is this the first? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, I hope it does it, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. And yeah, chat's asking what platforms we're going to play on. You going to play on PC?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm going to play on PlayStation. But like, being real, chat, I'm going to be buying it on both platforms. So that's just the truth. Because like, I'm a PvP player first.
PS5 off.
Sorry?
Would have to dust my PS5 off.
Yeah. Wherever the PvP player base ends up is where I'm going to be. I have a sneaky suspicion that there's going to be a good amounts of players on PlayStation. I am a little bit jealous of the 120 frames native that the PC enjoyers are going to get. But yeah, we'll see. We'll really have to see. AAA games are
so
traditionally
far,
bought without thought of past success, says Xenos. Interesting.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, so far a lot of the current PvP guys and the current community are saying they're going to be buying it on PC as well, although that is probably a pretty small minority of the amount of overall players who are going to be buying it.
On PC, you mean?
Yeah, on PC.
Yeah, see, I'm genuinely curious about that because I was lurking around a bunch of different streams, and apparently a lot of the people who are playing like sim games, so whether it's like Mech Warrior, Star Citizen, Flight Simulator, like a lot of the people in those communities are all going to be all on Armored Core. Like they're mega hype for it. I was very surprised. I went into a random...
we share a lot with them.
Yeah, that's what's so strange and so funky about Armored Core for me is like what a weird Venn diagram it is. Like, it's appealing to Souls fans, it's appealing to RPG fans, it's appealing to mecha fans, it's appealing to flight sim people. Like what game brings those communities together? You know what I mean? They're like, I'm not aware of a game other than Armored Core that's like, you know what I mean? That's actually appealing to all of those communities.
Yeah, it's pretty unique in its own thing. We do have a lot of overlap with the Ace Combat community is a big one.
Right, yeah, that's true.
AC.
That's true.
Yeah, so like plane games people and Armored Core people have a long history of getting along very well.
Playing games, Fivo.
Yeah, I don't know what they... I'm not a plane game person. I tried to get into Project Wingman, but then the VR didn't work right, and it hurt my head.
Oof, yeah.
Got out of Project Wingman.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I've considered getting it on PC, is that I kind of want to build a setup, like a dual flight stick setup, and play Armored Core with the dual flight sticks. Sounds...
Oh yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah, it would just feel really cool. I don't think there'd be any advantage in it. I was trying to find PlayStation 5 compatible sticks, but there's only one. You can't get a dual stick setup. There's no dual stick setup for PlayStation 5. There's only a stick and throttle PlayStation 5 setup.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we PC.
Yeah. So here's a question for you. I'm going to go through some of the mechanics of the game that we've seen so far and just kind of like get your takes on them, especially like the ones that are new to the series or the ones that maybe I don't really understand because I'm super new to the Armored Core scene. So a big question, so this is just kind of a basic thing, is like what has been the big difference between, let's say, ballistic style weapons and energy weapons in the games? Like, so let's say, you know, I like apart from having ammo, obviously. But like, what's the kind of mechanical differences there?
So they do have ammo, actually. You can still only fire them a limited amount of times in most cases.
Energy weapons.
But yes, but they don't incur ammo costs during the missions. Is the big thing. And I don't really know why that's that way, because you're firing something obviously, and you run out of it.
Yeah, maybe it's stored energy or
money,
something.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, energy weapons don't cost money in missions. Also, previously they have, like in For Answer, they shred through PA and heavier armor more easily than ballistic weapons, and so they're used for like long range shredding of heavy tanks.
Energy
PA
weapons
is
are
primal armor. It's like your shield. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You're gonna have to define some terms for me there. Primal armor is your shields.
Yeah, primal armor is your shield in the 4th gen games. It's
is there shield in
I think
6?
We've seen.
I've only seen AP so far.
I mean, there's that manual deploy shield, but I don't know if it gives you a passive shield in the same way that For Answer has one.
Okay.
Like it doesn't look like he has one because in 4 answer you have like a bubble that appears around you when your
Yeah,
shield
the
gets hit.
blue HP
And
or whatever,
he's
right?
he's just like getting hit on in the footage right there. So I don't think
Yeah.
there's any PA. But yeah, so laser weapons are great for shredding through heavily armored targets in that case, but they eat energy when they're fired. So you will be like on the ground a lot of the time when you're firing them. However, I heard that they don't consume energy when fired in 6,
Okay.
which is weird.
Interesting. They don't. So energy
Yeah.
being your boost bar, or where am I looking at to understand what it's consuming?
Yeah. So that
That bar in the middle there,
that
where he's
little
when he's
white,
boosting.
yeah, the little white bar in the middle. That in the past, it's been used for your normal boost, your quick boost, and any energy weapons, as well as powering like missiles and stuff. And then the more like shit you have strapped to you, the more passive drain you have. But
I see.
again, don't know exactly how that's gonna work in 6 because it appears that when he's firing those energy weapons on his hands, he's not losing energy.
Yeah, that's what. And even the shoulder weapons, I think here when he shoots this big like laser las cannon or whatever he's got, doesn't seem to use it.
I think that's a linear rifle, which is from the old games. But yeah, it doesn't seem like it cuts energy anymore. So I'm kind of curious as to if they're just like a damage resistance type thing, like they were in 5th gen. Because in 5th gen there is like a pyramid of damage types. And you have like a rock paper scissors ish. It's not really rock paper scissors. It's more complicated than that. But I'm simplifying it down to rock paper scissors, where like.
Right.
You have like paper weapons, they beat rock defenses, etc,
Right,
etc.
right.
And energy was one of those 3. So I'm wondering if it's like 5th gen in that sense, where energy weapons are used to defeat opponents who have low energy resistance.
Right.
Or if it's more like 4th gen, where it's just like an all-purpose like shred tool.
Okay.
Either way, though,
We're gonna
it's
have to wait
different in
and
that
see.
it doesn't consume energy.
Yeah, so another thing that I'm noticing a lot is that this game seems to be like it's trying to balance on the ground and in mid-air combat, where my energy bar does not seem to really regain at all while they're in the air. Right? Like
Yeah, so I've heard that it's on a cooldown, like a 2-second cooldown. So
What's
again,
on a
I'm not sure
2-second
how
cooldown?
accurate that is because it's hearsay. The regeneration of your energy. So
it's on a 2-second cooldown
yeah, 'cause
period, or it's on a 2-second cooldown on the ground? Because I remember in Vachi's video, he talks about how he seems to believe that it's connected to it touching the ground.
on like a 2-second cooldown period. If you actually rewind this video back like 30 seconds, you could see him regenerating energy in the air.
Okay, let me take a look here. Fromsoft energy, but slowly. Oh, I see. Okay, so it has a different regen speed. Interesting.
Yeah, it was in like in the next section here, like 10 more seconds forward, I think.
Okay.
Um,
When he's fighting the big tanky boss.
Yeah, when he's fighting the big tanky boss on the reverse joint, it looks like are those reverse joint legs? I don't know.
No,
They look
I'm not
reverse
sure.
jointy.
I mean, personally, just again from an outside perspective, I like that. I like the idea of incentivizing people to be on the ground, because it's like you're obviously less maneuverable in the air, or excuse me, less maneuverable on the ground, but then you're getting an advantage for being ground bound.
So yeah, right here he's airborne, and then.
Oh yeah, look, yeah, you're totally right. So yeah, he starts regenning. It's just a short one.
Yeah,
as long as he's not
right
doing
there.
stuff that's consuming his energy. That's a pretty slow regen.
Yeah,
though.
so I'm pretty sure it's a cooldown. Like say if you do something. Let me rephrase that in my brain. Sorry, I'm pretty sure it's a cooldown from the last thing you did that uses energy, and then I think it also regenerates slower in the air than it regenerates on the ground.
Yeah.
But,
and what's your feel of that
also not
as
confirmed.
someone who's played the games before? Does that seem like a smart idea? Does that seem bad? Like how does that hit you?
I don't know. I'm a 4-answer brained individual, so I definitely like permanently flying, but I'm not necessarily opposed to jumping around like 3rd gen.
Right.
Where in like those in that game it worked similar to like this, where you would like kind of boost jump around. And most of your bunny hopping, like Shiro says in chat,
Yeah.
most of your movement would be bunny hopping left and right. I'm not opposed to that. I think that's cool. It's definitely different.
Because that's definitely visually appealing to me as a casual. Like looking at the game.
Yeah,
like,
I mean it looks cool.
The more like that mix of ground plus air is an engaging look. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
I agree.
Like it visually connects a lot more. Because I'm using 3D movement as like dodging, and then I'm like forced to get grounded to get my regen up again, and then etc. Like there's just kind of a momentum to that type of gameplay.
Yeah, energy management is kind of a different dance in each of the generations, so how it plays in practice is going to feel different. Like in 4th gen, you're feathering your triggers, and in 5th gen, you're swapping between scan and attack mode, whereas in the old gen games, you're literally just like hopping left and right. So it's it's always different. I'm curious to see what the optimal method is, or what it turns out to be.
Zeno says, I'm sure regen rate will be equipment based and maybe 50% of normal and 200% from starting mech. Interesting, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff would be really cool. I hope they let us really mess with that. Because
usually that's tied to your output stat on your generator.
Yeah, I really, like, one of my big hopes for the game is high build variety. Like, I think, especially, like, Fromsoft games, one of their biggest, selling factors is the, like, I'm gonna run the weird gimmick character. I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Like, and something I really want to do when the game comes out is, use this blueprint sharing mechanic as a way of making mechs for new players to play and try out, but also to make really goofy, ridiculous mechs and like share those out there too. Like, yeah. I'm actually like that's honestly one of the features I'm really excited about. Is blueprint sharing. Do you know any specific details about how they're planning to implement that at all? Have you heard anything?
Yeah, I heard that after you finish creation, you would get a code, and then you could put that code into the creator on a different machine, and then it would import your machine with all the paint and everything on it.
With the paint?
Super. Yeah, with the paint is
Whoa.
what I heard. Which is super, super cool. Because, like, currently how it works is someone will send you a picture of their build, and you will build it. And then try to paint it as close as you can. On the original consoles, you could trade, but that you'd have to actually fight the person to trade with them.
Yeah.
And then they would have to actually give it to you. Whereas this time you could just like, check my sick build out and post it on Facebook or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, that is so
which
tight,
I think is super cool.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well, and I just wanted to confirm that that's what is other people are hearing. That is so exciting for me. Like a lot of the content that I've done that's done the best is build making type content, and so it's the idea of being like making a build feature video and then literally just having a code. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Is so sick. Like you don't have to like ultra explain every little detail for people to try out your builds. And the funny thing is, I actually think that that's going to really contribute as a feature to the new player friendliness of the game, right? Because like I said this before, one of the reasons I think that Elden Ring did so well is that there was a lot of people shared a very beginner friendly build that got people into the game, and it was like there were good and interesting builds that you could build within the first part of the game that brought people into the game. So I hope it also has depth for those of us who want to put 1,000 hours into the game, but like, I'm curious and I'm excited about that. That particular feature seems really exciting.
Yeah, the Armored Core games historically are deeper than they tell you initially. I kind of hope they move away from that a little bit, because like And the old games, there's a lot of like hidden mechanics that aren't necessarily explained. I hope that we have that
Elden
same
Ring,
level.
No, it's gonna happen, bro. It's gonna be in here too.
Yeah.
Like poison,
FromSoft jank, man.
Yeah, FromSoft poise system, weird stuff is gonna be. That's gonna be in this game. Like,
it's gonna be a nightmare. I hope they explain it better than they did in the other Armored Core games.
yeah, me too. Yep.
I'm not asking them to fix the nightmare. I like the nightmare. I just want them to explain.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be really funny to explore the game and be like, oh, like how we figured out in Elden Ring that like scaling on your weapons like basically doesn't matter. Like it does, it just doesn't matter that much.
Sorry, what?
What, you didn't hear that?
I've been out of the Elden Ring PvP community for a second, huh?
Yeah, so like you know how weapons have like A, B, C, D, S scalings, right?
Yes, I'm basing my builds around those for.
Yep. So those definitely contribute extra damage to your weapons. Just how important that extra damage is and how like what the numbers actually are often doesn't actually really matter that much. Like it does give you better numbers. It's just like if you're really talking about optimal build making, you're more concerned with hitting minimum requirements and maybe particular breakpoints for certain weapons. So like a good example is if you have a magic weapon, you don't need to go all the way to like 80 intelligence, for example, in Elden Ring. But going to 80 intelligence is super good for your spells. And like there's these like it's like most magic weapons in particular, for example, like do a ton of damage with the minimum requirements. Like the weapons don't have very much scaling, but the spells do. So it's like that kind of stuff. Like why, like that's not explained anywhere. Like it's not, there's no rules text that tells you like, oh, the spells all have S scaling with intelligence, but you know, the Moonveil Katana doesn't. You know what I mean? Like it's a disaster.
Yeah, what
it's
a trip.
disaster.
That's
and
a
like,
nightmare. That reminds me of like the stability breakpoints in For Answer, where you have to have certain stability numbers for your grenade launch to be able to fire grenade launchers in your bag without stunning yourself, and there's no way to calculate them that I know of. They just had to be hand tested in game.
Oh god. Well, hopefully the Souls community getting into Armored Core will give you some of those tools, because the community built all those tools for Elden Ring. Like those aren't like.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, man, that's so interesting. Yeah, so what's your take on the stagger mechanic? How do you feel about the posture, the sort of Sekiro style posture system being in Armored Core? Because that's kind of one of the bigger features of the new game, right? Is this this whole posture system being in the game. Like that's a fundamental change from what it's been before, right? Montage, who's on the call? This is Inve. Inve is a Armored Core 4 Answer PvP player who makes content on YouTube.
Yep, that's me. It's not as big of a change as some people think it is, honestly speaking.
Okay, tell me about that.
Has been very present in a lot of the old games. Like, I don't know, you don't have a bar for it, so in some ways having a bar might be better.
Right, just more
than it
clear.
is now. Yeah, because like in 5th gen, if you have low stability and you get hit by like a shotgun or something, you will be staggered. That's not like a stagger build-up. You just are staggered. And then if somebody has like 2 shotguns and continuously pings you with them, you will be stagger locked in place and killed.
Okay, wow. Okay.
Or like you can have that happen to you with like an autocannon tank too, where they will just like shred you to pieces. And like in For Answer, if you get hit with like a super heavy grenade or something, you'll also be stunned in place, and someone could follow up with another grenade.
Okay.
And then even in the old gen games, like if you take a grenade shot, you'll be stunned and you won't be able to move. Firing heavy weapons will also self-stun you even sometimes. Like
self-stunning. Okay.
If you fire a grenade launcher in the air without the required stability in For Answer, you'll like literally stun yourself, and you'll just drop to the ground like a rock for a second, which is not great.
Yeah.
So stun is not new to Armored Core. However, being able to tell when you're about to be stunned without going through like a million menus kind of is, and I think that's cool. I'm betting that there will be stuff that will hit you hard enough to just instantly stagger you as well.
Yeah.
And I'm also betting that if you build a super lightweight, you'll probably be able to get into a situation where you can get stagger locked like you were able to in 5th gen.
Yeah. Sorry, quick montage. Thanks so much for the sub. Also, Chris DTV, welcome to the stream and thanks for the follow. You're not gonna get banned. You're good. You just said the word boobs. You're good.
Saying boobs is a bannable offense.
Ban.
In 1984.
No. You have to say 80085. That's how we do things over here. Ban them.
Yeah.
Yo, seriously though, montage. Thanks for the 7 months, dude. It was an accident.
So yeah, Stagger.
So Stagger's been in the game. It's just now there's a bar for it, and there's more of this build-up effect. Also, there's a question here from Woozy who says, "Is there more Souls-like elements to this Armored Core, or not at all?" I'll let you handle that. You're the Armored Core community's favorite question.
I mean, you should really be asking, are there Armored Core like elements in the Souls games, because Armored Core came out first. So,
right.
Like Lock-On was in Armored Core before Dark Souls. I don't know. What's the? What? Anyway, it's a pretty vague question. Defining Souls-like elements is pretty challenging in the first place. I wouldn't call what we've seen of 6 Souls-like at all. It just has like a Lock-On, and Estus, I guess.
Lock-On, Estus,
and
bosses,
game Souls,
right? The bosses are probably more Dark Soulsian than the previous Armored Core titles, right?
Yeah, that's probably true. I think that is explicitly a good thing, though. Just because previous Armored Core bosses have basically just been, hey, look, here's a wall of bullets. Like,
yeah.
Cool, I built something that can take a wall of bullets.
Yeah, like
Metroidvania elements. I hope there's Metroidvania elements.
So one of the things, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. When we look at this, like the previous footage that Bandai put out with the first press release, one of the so a point that I've made before is that this in terms of level design is very Soulsian. Right, like this sort of like more branching path. Like I've watched a lot of footage of Armored Core games. I haven't played any of them myself yet, but this level design does not look like anything that I've seen of the Armored Core franchise beforehand. So, do you think that it's a fair comment to say that that's an element that FromSoft is going to be bringing into the new game? Is this type of a more Souls-ish level design?
Yeah, I think that is definitely fair. Previous Armored Core games, like the old gen games, were more maze-like, where you would kind of end up in underground mazes a lot, but having this level of actual like choice in where you're going to go, as it appears at least, definitely more Soulsy than previous, walk through this maze. That said, some of the mazes in the old gen games are very large. So like there are definitely levels where it's like, hey, go find this guy. Here's a giant fuck off maze, and there's like 6 ways to get to him. Right, and I hate those missions.
Yeah, I hate them too. Yeah, like to be honest, like the I was actually pretty on the fence about Armored Core until I saw this stuff, because I don't want to just go like what I've seen of Armored Core is like a bunch of bland hallways that look copy pasted, and then like really open desert / desert city. Like
a lot of fans might crucify you for that take, but I generally agree. The single player is not that much fun, in my opinion, for the older games.
Yeah, like, and I'm sure
this
a
looks
lot
like
of
a
that's
huge
nostalgia.
improvement.
Yeah, it looks so I like my personal take is that the exploration and the kind of basic experience is going to be similar. You're going to spend some time in your garage, you're going to make your cool AC, then you're gonna go into a mission, and you're gonna see, the exploration is gonna feel, I think, a lot like going between two bonfires in a Souls game. Now, it's definitely gonna be different because it's like a straight up different game with different mechanics, but the basic, like, even if we just look at this footage of like, you're gonna be adventuring around a level and you're gonna be like, ooh, what's that platform over there? Can I fly over there? And then you're gonna go and check it out and see what's over there, right? Like, that's, correct me if I'm wrong, but that kind of level of exploration is not really what they were doing in single player Armored Core before this point, right?
There are some levels where you have like sections where you have like just an objective marker and you're given like a vague area to explore, but not to this level. One thing to note is that in this footage the HUD is not on, and I think we will probably have much clearer objective markers than something like Dark Souls would.
Yeah,
where it'll be
sure.
like, hey, your objective's over here, and then how you get to that objective is much more on you than it might have been in previous games.
Which I think is good, personally. I do think actually there's a balance there. There's a strength to asking your players to explore, but there's also a weakness in that it's like you can just be aimless and have no idea how to progress, right? Like,
right. That hasn't been an issue in the past for these games because, like I said earlier, the missions have been generally pretty like, hey, go kill this guy.
right.
So I think we'll probably have fairly similar objectives, but the potential for getting lost is definitely going to be bigger, which, again, good thing in my opinion. I like getting lost in levels.
Yeah, me too. I want to
definitely
explore.
going to be bigger in this because of the
I want to find a
they've
weird
gained.
enemy. You know what I mean? Like, I want to fight find a weird. That was so much of the fun of Elden Ring's first playthrough was just like what the hell's over here? Like, that experience of exploration and discovery.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be a lesser extent here, but there are, I believe, confirmed hidden parts, I think I heard, so exploring is going to be at least partially incentivized to find those. That has been a thing in past Armored Core games, like the Kurosawa and the Moonlight have traditionally been hidden parts, or required like a hidden mission to unlock, so I assume they'll be similar in this.
Yeah, that's what's so fun. For those of you who don't know, both Patches and the Moonlight Greatsword originate in the Armored Core series. And so
I think the Moonlight Greatsword is older. I believe that was in King's
Oh,
Field as
that's
well.
right. That's right. Nine Ball. Thanks for the follow. That's an Armored Core reference,
Patches,
right?
I think, was... yeah, it is. Patches,
Nice.
I think, was first in For Answer, if I'm correct.
Yeah, Patch
Although some
the
people
Patch the
debate that he
Coward
might
or
have
something
been
like
in-
that.
Patch the Good Luck.
Oh, that's what it was. Patch the Good Luck. Yeah.
Yeah. Also Miyazaki's directorial debut, Armored Core For Answer, I believe.
Cool. The Kurosawa is definitely in the game. Yeah. Yeah. I really hope that there's an enemy AC pilot called Patch the Good Luck or Patch the something. Would be really cool.
Oh yeah, Patches will be there.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Patches is like kind of a signature cosplay of mine, so I'm happy. I'll probably end up copying his AC and playing it and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so we went over Stagger system. We talked a bit about lock on. How are you feeling about the melee? The differences in melee between let's say the more recent titles and 6, because 6 looks very different to me.
I think it looks super cool. Having the ability having overheats on the melee weapons is probably a good change because melee abusers are very common, myself being one of them. But also the
Tell
kick
me
coming
about
back.
abusers.
Yes. Well, swords do a lot of damage.
Good. They should.
Yeah, so people just go in with them as hard as they can and try and end the match immediately. I like to do that as well in 5th gen. Not so
Just
much in
dodge
4th
it,
gen because they're
SMH.
so buggy. Yeah, exactly. Just dodge. But 5th gen's attacker sided, so it doesn't matter if you dodge. If I hit you on my screen, you get hit.
Right. They tend to
That's part
chomp
of why people
40.
don't like 'em.
And they seem to be pretty powerful in this as well. On the Vati footage, he was chunking the boss pretty heavily for hitting them with his laser sword, whatever that was.
Yeah, blades are nuts usually in the past.
That's great.
I really just love the kick though. I'm so happy
Yeah,
that
the
made it
kick
back
looks
into the fifth
fantastic.
gen.
Yeah. But it's an
Those are my
unlock, I
favorite
think,
things.
right? It's one of the AI or OS.
Yeah, one of the OS
Tuning?
tunings. Yeah. I'm just gonna rush the arena first thing as soon as I get the game.
What's the
Get all those OS tuning chips.
I was gonna say, where do you get the OS tuning chips? You think they're from the arena? What gives you that indication?
Yeah, I believe that Vadi said they were from the arena. Either Vadi or Iron Pineapple said they were from the arena.
Interesting.
But you have like a specific currency that you get from clearing arena opponents that you use to unlock OS tuning chips.
Let's see if they have it here.
I also talked to a journalist named Nos from a Spanish publication who was able to play the game recently, and he mentioned that as well. I asked him if he was able to play with the manual aim, and he was like, no, I only had limited unlocks in time, so I didn't unlock manual aim.
The pile bunker did a ton of damage during combo in Vati's video. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. I'm curious about
pile bunkers, physical blades usually.
Yeah, whoo! Like, look at that. Devastated. Also, Vati's signature McDonald's mech on display here.
What did he say it was supposed to be again?
He's supposed to be Samus.
That's supposed to be Samus?
Yeah. You know, you see? Don't you see?
Let me Google
Samus.
her color scheme again.
It's yellow. It's yellow red. It is yellow red. In Super Metroid. Yep.
Okay, yeah, you know, that is the right color scheme, but you know,
it's the McDonald's
gold,
mech. Sorry,
yellow.
buddy.
Okay, it's gold, red, and orange, not yellow and red. Fuck, come on, man.
It's
It's got the Souls lore unlocked, but not the Metroid lore.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I'm like excited about the game is that I do like that Vati is getting into it. Like arguably, you know, he's probably like the face of Souls in a lot of ways. A lot of people watch those lore videos and don't even play the game. Like
yeah,
and so
there was some community flashback against him, but I personally think it's awesome that he went through and played all the games, and that, like, yeah, I think he's killing it on the Armored Core side.
Yeah, I think he's driving a lot of traffic and he's driving a lot of excitement about the game, and I'm excited for his lore content once the game comes out, just in terms of like, yeah, again, motivating people and getting them into the story. I'm guessing that Armored Core is going to have a weird story as well, like, or I shouldn't say weird, but like hard to access. I'm guessing it's going to be item descriptions and, you know, kind of hidden voice logs and that kind of stuff is probably going to be where we get the story.
Yeah, it's interesting because in the past, Armored Core stories have been a lot more explicit than Dark Souls stories have been. Like,
Right.
I don't know, in the most recent one, Verdict Day, you get like cutscenes and people like talk to you and they like actually say what they're thinking. Like, there's no like cryptic laughter, so it's gonna be
no cryptic
laughter.
laughter.
Be interesting to see if they. Yeah, it's weird. It's a trip. Like, they're like, the corporations have come out to get us. They sent this evil squadron, and you're like, oh, okay. Thanks for telling me that explicitly out loud. Glad I know who sent those guys. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of the story. So yeah, I'm really curious to see if they wrote dialogue for this one, or if they're doing the Dark Souls thing.
Just like just cackles.
Yeah.
Forge mounted chain gun
Walter
squad.
walks
Yes.
up. 4 Gatling squad, yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Telnote show. Yeah, Telnote show has been a staple of the Armored Core franchise.
Yeah, I hope they.
I mean, in the old games, you just got emails that told you what was happening.
Yeah. And that's honestly, like, I do hope they do more show not tell on this one, because I think FromSoft overcomes a lot of the like traditional barriers that more Japanese focused games, like the problems that those have in Western markets by having silent storytelling. Like, I think if all the characters were voice acted with dialogue written by FromSoft in Elden Ring, like, I think it would have pissed everybody off. You know what I mean?
Think you're
like,
probably right.
Like, could you imagine, like, instead of like patches and all those, like all the NPCs being like like having like 4 lines of dialogue and being very cryptic, if they all had like 2,000 voice like lines of dialogue and they followed you around telling you you're running around in the open field and they're like, Alexander's running behind you being like, yeah, you know, I really love eating powerful people, and like just like telling you all of his lore.
Just for Alexander.
Yeah. I mean, I picked the best one.
Alexander.
Yeah.
But
so like all
in
this...
the chat said that.
Sorry, go ahead.
That the From said that the pathing of the story will be similar to 4Answer, and that sounds like a nightmare. You have to play 4Answer 5 times to get all the missions.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with that
I hope
personally.
It's not that much like 4Answer. Oh, it's a. Can I send you something to show real quick? I want to show you the.
Yeah, go ahead.
The mission tree for 4Answer. It's what I affectionately refer to as the nightmare tree.
Yeah, send her over.
Let me. This is gonna take me a second. Ah, here it is.
Google Chrome is so useless, dude. I need to get rid of this browser, dog.
Firefox pilled, man. Firefox pilled.
This is the worst. Every time you tab out of out of it, it's just like, you don't need those frames per second.
Yeah, exactly.
Those aren't for you. So what am I looking at? Tell me what I'm looking at here.
This is the mission paths you could take to get to all of the endings in Armored Core 4Answer.
Okay.
It is a flowchart of nightmares and the current only resource for how to get all the endings and all the missions in FA. You do need this because before you go into multiplayer, you need to SS rank the entire game, which means S ranking everything on normal and hard and clearing the entire arena.
No thanks.
We have 100% saves for people who want to jump into multiplayer for this reason.
Yeah. AC6 will be my first AC game. Yeah, me too. Me too, 9ball.
If they're saying that it's like 4Answer in its mission layout, I'm scared.
Yeah. I mean, in a certain sense, I like the idea of having multiple endings. I just hope it's not tied to PvP. Like that you need to SS rank everything to PvP. I don't mind a convoluted story structure. It gives PvE players lots of like, you know, a good amount of play time because they can play through the game with different setups and like, you know, get all the endings, whatever, platinum the game, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was like
this doesn't seem too bad to be totally honest. Like this, like Elden Ring's more confusing than this.
I don't know. I think that's a nightmare to look at, man.
Maybe it just shows how absolutely down the hole of frickin' FromSoft I am that I'm just like, oh, this isn't too bad. This seems pretty normal. Like, you know, go talk to Ronnie once over here. Go tickle a tree in Act 3 and find the special, you know, ending. Like, don't ask me to even still explain to you how to do gold masks ending in Elden Ring.
Yeah, here's some more 4th gen brain pain. That's how to perfect boost.
This is how to perfect boost?
Yes.
There are 255 states of pressure on your R trigger, 0 not being a press the trigger at all, and 255 being a full trigger pull. In order to second stage, you need to pull the trigger at any point between the 55 to 104 and hold it for up to 6 frames and then release. You hold it for 7 frames, it won't second stage. That's how to perfect dodge?
Yeah. But also you can make it more perfect than that by making it only 1 frame.
I'm just going to go ahead and say I hope they don't put this in the game. Yeah. It'd be cool if they didn't do that. Yeah. It'd be all right. I'd be okay with that.
We love 4Answer.
I'm not trying to wave dash.
Yeah,
I'm not
similar to wave dashing.
I'm not trying to do consistent 1 to 2 frame text. I'm good. Yeah. Please, FromSoft, don't do it.
So in 5th gen they changed that from pressure sensitivity to a purely timing based thing and widened the window by about like 0.2 of a second. So it's much more good.
Much more good.
Yeah. So my brain failed me for a second there.
That's awesome. Oh man. Okay. Well, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can really think about at this time. There's some other things that I'll probably. I'd love to connect again once the game's out for a little bit and just like touch base on like how the PvP feels, how things are, you know, how things are doing in those first couple weeks and of the game coming out. I'll be really excited for it.
Yeah.
Are you planning
See whether
to
or not I hate the game?
Sorry, see whether or not you hate the game. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's so funny, man. It's so funny how like it doesn't matter which FromSoft title we're talking about. It's like there's always this like doomer cloud of like I hope I don't hate it, dude. Like I hope all the PvP, all the like, you know that guy who had like the meme character who looks all shriveled up and stuff like.
Yeah.
Like I hope the PvP doesn't completely suck. Like.
My tactic is that I love bad games. So the more broken the PvP is, the more fun I'll probably have.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's I love Elden Ring PvP and it has no balance, so looks good.
Yeah.
Have I played Sekiro? Oh yeah, for sure. And what's interesting too is this game is being developed by the team that made Sekiro. I mean, for whatever that means, for however much you can throw that.
I have not played Sekiro.
Oh really? It's fun.
Yeah.
Are you good at parrying?
You can't get a giant sword.
You can't get a giant sword. Nope. You an Unga Bunga man?
That was my main thing. I am an Unga Bunga man. I like to beat things with a giant sword.
Well, this is the perfect PvP patch for you, man. Unga Bunga is like totally.
Is it really?
Yeah, totally viable on 110. Hyper armor got buffed, so you can actually swing your sword now.
That's pretty sweet. I was just pressing L2 before, you know, with the lion's claw.
Yeah, beautiful. Classic L. So what I'm doing today for my stream today is we're doing L2'd in ring. So I have the yeah, I have one of these the new Pro control or whatever you call this, DualSense Edge, and you can remap all your controllers, all your buttons. So every button is going to be L2 today, and we're gonna see if we can kill anybody.
You can.
Yeah, I'm guessing we're gonna do just fine actually.
Yeah, I think my first like 100 hours of Elden Ring PvP was just me pressing L2.
Yeah, why not?
I've got like a whole folder on my PC, and like 80% of the clips are just bonk and me yelling "level vigor" into the mic.
Yeah, level vigor. I won against a 3-man Moonveil gank, dopamine hit. Oh yeah, there's no bigger dopamine hit than killing Moonveilers for sure. Well, thanks for coming on the stream, my dude. I think I'm gonna let you go and switch over to Elden Ring here. But thanks for coming and talking some Armored Core stuff with me. I'm really excited for this. I hope we can connect and maybe even do some stuff together. Like I would really love to do some like stuff like, you know, intro to PvP type content. I think would be really useful for people to get their hands on earlier rather than later. Especially because...
I'd love to do that kind of thing.
Sorry, say again?
I'd love to do that kind of thing, man.
Yeah. Yeah, because I really wish that there was more PvP positive content for Elden Ring, and I think in a game that's less antagonistic to the PvE player base, like Armored Core, I'm hoping that the PvP... I'm hoping we can get lots of people interested in it, and less antagonistic. Yeah.
The Poison Swamp started in Armored Core 1, my friend.
Yeah, I meant more the invasion system makes PvEers upset.
Yeah, that's true.
And the 3v3s are not going to upset any Redditors. So, well, and not at the beginning. Not until they start playing ranked 3v3s and start getting destroyed. But everybody's using the same. Yeah, everybody's jamming me with their tanks in my face. I keep getting rammed by three mechs.
Yeah.
I can imagine the BMs, man, just 3 people kicking one person, like.
It's a valid strategy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, would love to do some more stuff in the future, and we got to get you on some 4-answer PvP, man, before 4.6 comes out here. In the next
for
couple
sure.
Weeks.
The week leading up to Armor Core's release, my plan is to do Armor Core basically every day, leading up to the release. So that would be a great week to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Just hit me up. I'm always playing.
Nice. Sounds good, man.
Okay, man.
Okay.
Thanks for having me on. I'll drop out now. You have a good stream.
Thanks, man. Take care. Peace.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, so for those of you who were just enjoying that conversation, please consider going and hanging out with Yngwie. Check out him on YouTube. He's got some interesting videos about Armor Core 4 Answer, and has some other content here. Yngwie only has 1K subs on YouTube, so y'all should go hit him up, drop a sub. I'm sure he's going to be doing content when Armor Core comes out as well.
Hello, Tarnished. Consider clicking that like button and absolutely annihilating that subscribe button because TheKoop is based. Ranny out.